Exactly, Chullin chapter 6, the name of the chapter is Kisuy Hadam, and the Mishnah, starting from the Mishnah at Pei Zayin to the top, 87a1. Shochat v'lo yichiso. If someone shechted chaya or bird, but he did not cover the blood, v'lo acher, and another person saw it, chayav lechasot, he is obligated to cover it. Kisov and isgalo, if one covered the blood, and it then became uncovered, patur milechasot, he is exempt from covering it again. Kisau haruach, if the wind covered the blood, chayav lechasot, one is still required to cover it, if it was covered by the wind. So the Mishnah says, if you didn't cover the blood, I came and saw it, I should cover it myself. And if it was revealed, if you covered it and then it became uncovered, I'm exempt from covering it. If it was covered by the wind, I'm still obligated to cover it. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in a Baisa, V'shovach v'chiso, he shall spill its blood and cover it in the earth. Misha shofach yechase. It says v'shofach v'chiso, meaning the one who shechted the animal, the one who spilled the blood, should cover it. Shochat v'lo yichiso, one slaughtered chaya or bird and did not cover its blood. How do we know that another person is obligated to cover if the shechet didn't cover? The Pasuk says, and I say to the children of Israel, this is the admonition, this is a warning to all the children of Israel. Tanya Idach. It's taught in another Baisa, V'shofach v'chiso b'mashe shovach bo yechase. The shechet shall cover the blood with what he used to spill it. Shelo yechasenu beregel, which implies you shall not cover it with his foot. Shelo yu mitzvahs bezuyos olav, so that God's commandments does not become contemptible to him. So we don't want it to be contemptible by covering it with your feet. Therefore, you should do it with your hand.
What is contemptible?
Something that is not bazui. It's not. You're not respectful. You're not doing it. Tanya idach v'shofach v'chisa. It says v'shofach v'chisa. You spill and you cover the blood. Misha shofach hu yechasenu. The one who spilled the blood should cover it. Should cover it. Ma'aseh b'echad sheshochat v'kodem chaver v'chiso v'chir v'irabo Rabbi Gamliel iten lo yasol zuvim. One time, somebody shechted the animal, and before he had the chance to cover the blood, he wanted to cover it. Somebody came and covered the blood instead of the shechet. Yeah. So when Gamliel punished him, when Gamliel said that he has to, the one who covered the blood, he has to pay the shechet 10 golden dinars, which is a lot of money.
If you
that was his punishment, as compensation for having deprived him for the reward for the mitzvah.
There's an English expression, it's not dirt cheap.
Right. The Gemara proceeds to clarify whether the compensation is for the actual mitzvah of covering the blood, or for the blessing that the coverer recites. So we have to figure out exactly what was the issue over here. Is it the actual act or the bracha that he took away from him? So ibalu schar mitzvah or schar bracha. Where is the reward? The reward is the mitzvah, or the reward is the bracha that you say before the mitzvah? Okay? Are the 10 golden dinars that Rabbi Gamliel forced the guy to pay imposed as compensation for seizing the performance of the mitzvah? In other words, Rabbi Gamliel punished the guy who covered the blood because he stole the mitzvah, or he stole the bracha before the mitzvah. Right? You say, Al Kisuy Hadam. He took away the bracha from him. So he wants to know, what difference does it make? Lamay nafkamina. It says, nafkamina levirkas hamazon. It makes a difference regarding the amount of the payment for reciting birkas hamazon in place of another. It says, very interesting, in 11, it says, in earlier times, when a group ate together, it was customary for one of them to recite Birkat Hamazon out loud, while the others listened and answered Amen. If one member of the group, the host, usually the host, had the right to recite Birkat Hamazon out loud, and if it happened that someone else preempted him, someone else started saying it without his consent, the former deserved compensation, so he has to pay him for stealing away the Birkat Hamazon from him. Today, obviously, we have to say the bracha ourselves. Each one says the Birkat Hamazon.
Robert, I don't know if it's the time to ask, but if you only find the blood, you have to cover it? If it's a blood of behemah?
No, if it's chaya or a bird.
We don't know the animal, we just see the blood.
Oh, you have to find out. You have to find out what it is. If you can't say a bracha, if you don't know, safek brachot la'akel, you have a doubt, you don't say a bracha. But if you found out, and the guy just shechted the deer or he shechted the chicken, and he left it like this, he left the blood, and you have a mitzvah to cover it.
Okay.
So the question is over here, l'may nafkamina, if he punished him because he took away the mitzvah or he took away the bracha that preceded the mitzvah. He said there's a nafkamina in Birkas Hamazon. In Birkas Hamazon, so the scenario was that he preempted him, and he said before the host, if you say that the 10 golden dinars that Rabbi Gamliel punished the guy to pay, told him to pay the 10 golden dinars, if you say that the 10 golden dinars are imposed as compensation for the mitzvah, achasi, here too, it is only one mitzvah and a payment of 10 golden dinars suffices. It's one bracha. Baruch atah Hashem, asher kiddishanu mitzvotav tzivanu al Kisuy Hadam. That's it. So that's the reward of the mitzvah. But if you say that they are imposed as compensation for the blessing, avin arboim, it says then you have Birkas Hamazon. You have it has to be 40 golden dinars. Since Birkas Hamazon consists of 4 blessings, right? So it really makes a big difference. What was the punishment for? Punishment, if it's a punishment for stealing the mitzvah, then in Birkas Hamazon it's also going to be 10 golden dinars. If you stole, if you preempted and said Birkas Hamazon before the host, pay 10 golden dinars. If the punishment was for the blessing, for taking away the blessing, in Birkas Hamazon he stole 4 blessings, and therefore, so we have to punish him 40 golden dinars.
But Rabbi, one of the blessings, isn't it blessing the host of the house or something like that? And if you're
at the end, yeah.
I was saying the verse, it wouldn't be better.
The Rachaman, which is God, the merciful one, should bless the host of this house. But over here, regardless, either you say it or someone else, they did say the Birkas Hamazon, but he took it away from him because back in the day, one guy would say it for everyone else.
Right.
So that's why we need to find out what was the punishment for. Tashma de Omar le'ahut seduki le'Rabbi. There's a certain seduki. Seduki was Sadducee. Those didn't believe in the oral Torah. He said the one who fashioned the mountains did not create the wind. And the one who created the wind did not create the mountains. Why? Because the mountains are opposing the wind, and the wind is diminishing the mountains. The wind is taking away from the mountain. It is written, for behold, the fashioner of the mountains and the creator of the wind. So using 2 different terminologies. Yoitzer Uvoire,
And a
fashioning,
lot of people agree with them, yeah?
Fa- fashioning and creating. We even had a high priest that was Saduki. Yeah, high priest. The Gemara says he walked into the Kodesh HaKodashim, to the Holy of Holies. On his way out, the angel kicked him in the forehead, and he died on the spot. They said it was like a calf, like a leg of a cow that was imprinted on his forehead, left indentation in his forehead.
He went to be
his
high
father,
priest by force.
he paid his
money
way.
for it.
Yeah, he didn't
But
force. He
obviously,
paid.
all those people who
Yeah.
paid to be high priest, they always die. Anyway.
Yeah. But it's also interesting that they were willing to give up their life just to get close to Hashem. And the same token, it says, the Gemara says that his father warned him. His father was Seduki also, but his father was afraid for the life of his son. So he said to his son, when you go inside, follow the traditional customs of the original practice of how things need. No, not to push him. He said,
Don't change.
he said to him, just follow the what was done before, the regular way.
Right.
And not the ways of the Tzedukim.
He was afraid.
He was afraid for his son. So the son told his father, what, we are fakers? Either we believe it or don't. So he followed the way. And
But the son was not Seduki.
the son was Tzeduki and the father was Tzeduki.
Both of them.
The father was trying to convince the son not to
do it. So the son died? Of course he did. Even they're not.
So it seems that a power known as a fashioner, Yotzer Harim, crafted the mountains, and a power known as the creator produced the wind, meaning it's two different powers. Tzeduki, in other words, tells he comes to Rabbi, and he tells him there's two entities. There's an entity that created the wind, and an entity created the mountains. Amar le shoite shefil lesefer dikro. He said to him, you fool, proceed to the end of that self-same verse. You're only quoting half the verse. The Tzionim, they used to quote, Bet Yaakov lechu v'nelcha. Period. The house of Yaakov, let's walk together. Eretz Yisrael will build the land. But one thing they stopped, there's another two words to the pasuk. Bet Yaakov lechu v'nelcha, be'or Hashem. Be'or Hashem was taken out. Lechu v'nelcha, we're going to walk together, the house of Yaakov, but not the Be'or Hashem. We'll build a country, but without the light of Hashem, without God. Be'or Hashem is taken out. So over here also took out. He said, look at Sefer Dikra. Look at the end of the verse that you quoting. Hashem tzevakot shemo. Who is Yotzer Harim? Who is Yotzer Harim uvorei ruach? The one who crafting the mountains and the creator of the wind. Tzevaot shemo. Hashem, God of legions, is his name. The verse itself makes abundantly clear that there is but one creator. Omar Lei, the Seduki said to Rabbi, Nekoit li zimnat loso yoime, give me 3 days time. Ume'adron oloch tivta, he wanted 3 days to think about it, to come back with an answer. He asked Rabbi. Yossi Rabbi itlastani, so Rabbi spent those 3 days fasting. So Rabbi took him very seriously. It says in 14, since Rabbi was the Nasi, he was the leader, many people were bound to be present for his debate. Many people were bound to be present for his debate with the Saduki, and if he would not win decisively, a desecration of the name might result. He therefore fasted and prayed that he not fail. He was afraid for the desecration of Hashem's name. b'chilul Hashem if the tzeduki can come up with an argument that he is unable to answer. So he wanted to be a decisive victory, meaning that
No
a
doubt.
child can understand that Rabbi won. Not just fair and square, like completely throw him out of the court, as they say. So he fasted. Fasted during these 3 days. Ki aveko mivro. At the end of the 3 days, when he wished to nourish himself, he was about to break the fast. Omar le tzeduki koya babu. They told them that the tzeduki is standing at the door. He is ready to go. He is ready to roll. Omar veitnu bevaroi sirosh. Rabbi said, but they put gall in my meal.
What is it?
So he said in 16, it's a pasuk in Tilim 69:22. 69:22. Vayitnu bevaroi sirosh v'letzom yashkuni chometz. He writes like this. Omole, as it turned out, there was a different Saduki at the door. It's not the same guy that argued with him. And when allowed in, he said to Rabbi, Rabbi mevasel teves ani loch. Rabbi, bear you good tidings. Good tidings. I have good tidings for you. I have good news for you. And what is the good tidings? Lo imotza tshuva oivecho. The Tzeduki could not find an answer to Rabbi's refutation. He said to him, Hashem tzvokos. So what did he do? V'nofal min hagag umeis. He threw himself off the roof. He killed himself. The Tzeduki, losing the argument, got him upset, and he jumped off the roof.
Over here, in the Gemara here, it's translated as a min. In other words, that he's not a Saduki, that he's a min, that he was a Goyish heretic. This is the original. I mean, maybe the censors changed it. It says Nafal min hagag umei. So I don't think it's a Saduki, because that would have been a Jew.
The Torah, the Gemara says clearly it's Tzeduki. What does it say? The Omar le'u Tzeduki l'Rabbi. That Tzeduki said to Rabbi. It clearly says it was a Tzeduki.
When it says Nafal, what word do you have after Nafal?
Nafal?
I know, but what word does it say after min? It says min.
V'nofal min hagag umeis. Where do you see min?
Mean from.
Okay, so he's talking about
No, he fell from the roof. That's just in Hebrew. That's how you say from.
I know.
You're right. No min. V'nofal min hagag umeis. But what is gall? Gall?
Gall is a very bitter, almost like vinegar. It's
Vinegar.
Very, sour.
So he said after 3 days fasting, and this guy shows up before I even have a chance to eat. He says they're putting something better on my head. Then he says chometz. Chometz is also vinegar. Vinegar is also sour.
Oh, I'm
So-
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but going back to the beginning, what it says here in this gives it Tashma da Amar le hu mina l'Rabi.
By me it says Aud Tzeduki.
I think what happens is, I know in this Gemara, what the censors changed, in other words, they put back into the original Girsa. So I think this is supposed to be the original.
But regardless, Min and Tzeduki, they were both clowns. They're both heretics and trying to debate the Torah.
Wouldn't it be better to think that a Mina, the heretic, threw himself off the building than a Jew and killed himself?
It could be a Jew. Meaning they're also.
Why would it go? How could it go to be a heretic?
They have to believe in Hashem too, so that it's been you know.
No, we said to be a heretic, you need to be knowledgeable. You have to know what you are against. You have to
Just
learn the
like-
Torah
ju-
and knowing what
it's
you're
just like
against
the
to.
missionaries today, they knew all the Pesukim.
So a guy over here, he comes up with the psukim. He says, Yotzer Horim, Beiruach, he sees the psukim. Anyway, so this Tzeduki came to break the news to Rabbi. Now Rabbi says to the Tzeduki that broke the news to him, Omar le Retzeincho shetisud etzli. Rabbi thereupon said, would you like to dine with me? I'm going to eat. You want to eat? Omar le hein. He said, okay. After they ate and drank, Rabbi said to him, will you drink of the cup of blessing, the cup of wine over which we recite Birkas Hamazon? Or will you take 40 golden dinars instead? What do you want? I offer you now, you have two opportunities to say the Birkas Hamazon. You will hold the cup,
We'll pay for it.
or I will give you 40 zuvim. You let me do it, and I'll give you 40 zuvim. Or will you take 40 golden dinars? Now, Rabbi was a very wealthy man. He could,
Bill Gates.
he could easily. Actually, I saw Bill Gates once ate at a restaurant, and he gave a tip of $10 to the waiter. So the waiter made a face. he said to him, what happened? Why are you making a face? So he said, your daughter was here yesterday, and she gave me $500 tip. How come? You are the the great kahun, right? The big kahun. So he said, big kahuna. So he said to her, her father, he said about his daughter, her father is the richest man in the world. My father was a carpenter. So that's the difference. So she has the rich mentality. I have the mentality of a carpenter. I'm still carrying the. So over here, Rabbi was very wealthy, and he says to him, would you take 40 zehuvim, 40 golden dinars? And what is the Tzeduki says? No, I'm going to do the bracha. I want to do the bracha. Wow. So now, Rabbi Yaakov, according to your logic,
Right
now you better say Tzeduki, right?
Yeah,
it's
better
a Jew,
say Tzeduki,
right?
right.
It works for you better. Omar le koil shel bracha nishes. Tzeduki replied, will drink the cup of wine. Yotzo bas koil v'amro, a heavenly voice went forth and said, koil shel bracha shova arboim zuvim. The cup of blessing is worth 40 golden dinars. We learn from this incident that if one deprives his fellow of his recitation of Birkas Hamazon, he must pay him 40 golden dinars. So what does it answer our question from the beginning? When Rabban Gamliel punished the guy who covered the blood of the animal, he punished him for taking away the bracha, not for taking away the mitzvah. Because we can argue that the mitzvah of the shechet was done. He was his shaliach in a way. He has an obligation, and a chaya is shechted, we have an obligation to cover the blood. If you cover it or I cover it, the bottom line, it was covered.
Is the bracha.
But the bracha, who said the bracha?
Rabbi, over here it basically says 200, a person could live off 200 zuzim for a year, and they equaled the dinars 1,000 zuzim, which means 5 times their yearly salary is what he was willing
To pay him.
to pay.
Imagine, yeah.
5 times what you make in a year.
Almost
For the blessing. If you
Wow.
only knew that that's what it's
Right.
worth.
The Gemara notes what became of this Tzeduki. So what happened after he had a meal with Rabbi? He was for sure influenced, right,
You
by
can't do
Rabbi.
it for granted.
So Omar Rabbi Yitzchak, Adayin yeshno lo yisa mishpacha ben gdei leromi. The family, that family is still among the prominent ones of Rome. V'koiri no yisa mishpachas bar Luyanus, and they call it the Bar Luyanus family. The Mishnah states, Kisov is galo, if one covered the blood and it became uncovered, he is exempt from covering it again. Omar le Ravacha brei de Rava le Ravashi, ma yishna machshova savedo, de Omar hoshev afilu mea peomim. Why, when you have a lost object, and you have a mitzvah to give back, a mitzvah to give back the lost object, what does it say? Return. Hoshev connotes that one must return an object even 100 times. You came to the house of so-and-so, he's not at home. You want to give him the lost object. He's not at home. So you come the next day, and the next day, 100 times. So why over here, if the blood was uncovered, why don't I have to cover it again? I have a mitzvah to cover the blood. I covered it, suddenly a wind came, uncovered it. Then I don't have to cover it again. Why?
But the blood doesn't belong to anyone. The object.
No, he's saying the point is over here. You see the mitzvah. You are still obligated to do the mitzvah over and over again until you get it right. Why don't I get it right over here?
It said, the Gemara also said if the wind blows dirt on the blood, you still have to go back and do
Right.
the mitzvah.
Yeah, because then you didn't do the mitzvah.
Right. So this way, if you did the mitzvah, and then
You did a mitzvah. It was uncovered by the wind or whatever it is. It was uncovered. But the question is why? If I have to do Hashavas Aveda 100 times, meaning I got to redo and redo until I get it right, why don't I have to redo over here until I get it right? That's the Gemara's question. So there, in the case of lost object, no limiting term is stated. Hoshev, it's nothing limiting. But here, a limiting term is stated, vechisahu. For the Torah state, he shall cover it. This implies that only a single act of covering the blood is required. Hoshev is keeping it open. You have to constantly hoshev until it's returned. Return it until it's returned. Vechisahu, it's single term. You do it once.
Maybe it means with the Hashavat Haveda, maybe it could also mean that he returned it and then it was lost again. And he found it again. And he could say, maybe I did it once, I already returned it once, I don't have to return it again. And maybe this is saying that even if he found it 100 times, he has to bring it back 100 times.
Yes, that's you're right. It says one must keep returning it to him even 100 times.
Okay.
So the repetition, you shall return, hoshev, toshev, you shall return, teaches that you do it even 100 times. And in our case, there is miuta. It's vechisahu. That's it. One time you got to cover it once. Now the next part of the Mishnah speaks about kisoa ruach. The wind covered the blood. They taught only this regarding what a case of the blood became uncovered again. It was covered and then became uncovered again. And then you have to cover it, meaning you didn't cover the blood, the wind came and covered the blood, and then another wind came and uncovered the blood. So then you have to cover it. But if the wind did not come again, meaning it was covered, and there was no other wind that uncovered it, then you don't have to mess with it. You don't have to move it and recover and add dirt. Potu. But when the blood became uncovered again, or what concern is it? While it was covered, it was rejected from being used in the mitzvah, and it should therefore remain rejected permanently. Once it is covered, that's it. This tells us there is no permanent rejection in regard to mitzvahs. It says, how is this different from which was taught in a Baisa? It says, if one slaughters a chaya or bird, and the blood was absorbed in the ground, he's still obligated to cover it. So he says, what is this? Why is it that the Baisa's case, the mitzvah is applicable? Why is it that in the Baisa's case, the mitzvah is applicable even though the blood did not become exposed? While in the Mishnah's case, where the wind covered it, the mitzvah is inapplicable unless the blood became exposed. That's Rashi's question. And he ends off, Shirishumoi nikar, where the stain of the blood is noticeable on the ground. The Mishnah, however, refers to a case where the blood was completely obliterated by the matter that the wind blew over it. Yeah, you have to say the bracha. You say the bracha. Dam shenisol b'mayim. The Mishnah discusses cases in which the blood became mixed with other substances before one covered it. Dam shenisol b'mayim, regarding the blood of chaya or bird that became mixed with water. Im yesh bo maris dam chav lechases. If it has appearance of blood, one is obligated to cover it. So b'yayin, if the blood became mixed with red wine, roi noise kilo mayim, we view the wine as if it were water. If there is sufficient blood in the mixture to give that amount of water the appearance of blood, one is obligated to cover it. It's still looking like blood. Nisov badam beimo, if the blood of a chaya or bird, which is subject to covering the blood, became mixed with the blood of beima, which is not subject to covering the blood, oy v'dam chaya, or with blood from the wound of chaya. So one came from the esophagus, trachea, and one came from the wound. These two bloods are now mixed together. Blood from the wound of chaya, which is not subject to covering the blood. Roin oisa keilu hu maim.
Also, it's not the manefesh,
Yeah.
of a wound.
Even if it is, since it didn't come out through shchita, then you don't have to cover it. Roin oisa keilu hu maim. We view the blood that does not require covering the blood as if it were water. If there is sufficient blood in the mixture to give that amount of water the appearance of blood, one is obligated to cover it. But if not, one is exempt. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ein dam mevatel dam. Blood cannot nullify blood. One is therefore obligated to cover the blood of the slaughtered chaya or bird, even if it is not sufficient to give the mixture the appearance of blood. Meaning, the blood that came from the shchita remains blood. Nothing nullifies it. Even if it became mixed with other liquids, it doesn't change its status. It's still the blood and therefore you are obligated to cover it. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda.
I don't understand something. In the first case, when the dam is mixed with the water, in other words, in that case, it's considered to be like water, right? In the first case, when the dam is mixed with water. But if it's mixed with wine,
no, it says dam shenisal b'mayim, blood that was mixed with water.
That's right. It's considered to be like dam.
Im yesh bo maris dam, if it has.
I turned it around. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
If it has the look of blood, it's still liable. Still chayav.
It says when it's mixed with wine, it's not considered to be like dam. And it seems like blood mixed with wine, it would be all red. It seems like it would look more like blood than blood mixed with water.
No, but he says like this. He says nisol b'yayin, if it became mixed with red wine. Roi noisa kilo umayim, we don't look at the blood like it's water. We look at the wine like it's water.
Oh,
you see?
Look at the wine like
exactly.
It's
So he says we view the wine as if it were water. If there is sufficient blood in the mixture to give that amount of water appearance of blood, one is obligated to cover it.
Okay.
Meaning the blood nullifies the wine. We treat.
Rabbi, number 3 also kind of touches on it on the other page.
According to Rabbi Yehuda, the concept of nullification is restricted to mixtures consisting of different kinds of substances, min b'she'einu minoi. But a kind mixed with a like kind, min b'minoi, is not nullified.
Okay.
So when we talk about the blood that comes from the wound and blood that comes from shchita, it's min b'minoi. It's the same type of blood, right? Min b'minoi,
I think in kashrus, mean b'mino.
same
And
species,
tam,
right?
You have something that's mixed with something else, you can distinguish the tam, in other words.
Right.
The
Correct.
taste.
Correct. How do you when it gives flavor?
Right.
So remember, I asked the question. I heard that the Brisker Rav once posed that if your wife cooked 10 pieces of meat and then she finds 11 in the pot, so she knows that she got a package of 10. It was not 11. It says on the bag.
If it's like chicken legs, like something that's like that's
No, square
like chopped meat, just chopped up in cubes, but could be just
cubes, and it says on the bag 10, and she counted 10, put 10 inside. She sees now 11. She counts 11.
We didn't
What
have the
happens?
answer.
What do you have to do?
So
Answer is, you had the answer?
saying it's he went back and forth with different reasonings why it should be prohibited or why it should be permissible. But why is it reminding it to me? Because it says min b'mino. It's also meat. It could be a meat from treifa and a meat from kosher animal. How can you distinguish the flavor and say if it's nois and tam or not nois and tam? If it added to the flavor or didn't add to the flavor? You can't. So that would be maybe one argument to prohibit the meat.
So if something that happens, you're not allowed to eat them.
It's not so simple. Do you have a non-Jewish person at your home? Is she brought something from outside? And if she tells you, I did bring it from outside, you're unable to distinguish it. Is it nullified? It's not nullified. There's many.
What do you mean nullified? Batel
Like
b'shishim,
the
you mean?
rove.
But
So you can have a piece of 60 pieces of chicken and 1 piece of pork, and it's okay.
Halachically, if it's nullified and you don't see it, meaning if you can see it, then you are obligated to take it out.
So someone goes and throws a piece of bacon in a chullin right now. It gets mixed in, no one knows, no one feels. It's not an issue? Technically, according to halacha, I'm just giving you like a hard example.
It's nullified. That's what it says. If a person has 60 positive attributes and he has 1 negative attribute, so the positive overflows the negative. It washes it away. It nullifies it.
There's two negatives.
But what if it still gives flavor to the food, to the thing? What if it still gives
Right,
flavor?
so I said it's very complex. It's not like one answer. Because if it gives flavor and the flavor is noticeable, then it would be an issue.
No taint tam with gam and no taint tam with shpach.
Right.
One has a good
Right.
flavor.
So,
but you can
so
still taste
besides
it.
you
One
giving
has
the
a bad
flavor, is it enhancing flavor or it's
A bitter.
it's for the detriment of the food? Is it making it worse?
And if
It's
it's
a
making
lot.
it worse, it's okay?
Yeah, because then you're not deriving any hana and there's no benefit from it. Anyway, it's not exactly our discussion, but the point is that min b'minoi, it makes it a little bit. Roi noisa kilu umayim. We view the.
Just say no. We're going to just say no, but there's a piece of there, and no, it's not. You just don't eat it.
So how about this? When you have the same place with tipat chalad, which is not follow the tadur basar, you don't throw out the whole. You don't throw out the whole
Meatball?
julep pot because a drop of milk fell in. If it's batal b'shishim,
It says Torah chasa al mamonan shel Israel.
right.
So the Torah is worried and careful, concerned with our money. It's
If
just
it was
because.
your pot, you spent $100 on the chullin, and then
In this
somebody-
case, it's probably 250, 300.
right, and
Yeah,
then
I
you screwed it up. Somebody screwed it up by putting a little.
Actually, it's a
flavor
good
in
thing.
it.
It says on Shabbos you should spend more money on
Right.
the Shabbos meal.
So
Karata al Shabbat
how-
onig.
And you're a poor person. How you gonna, or a poor congregation? How you gonna feel about throwing the whole thing out? No chullin this Shabbos.
Yeah. Can't picture Shabbos without Chullin. It's would
Right.
be-
So they try to negate it. Find a way out, not to throw it out. All right, let's.
It's very similar. I'm just thinking, in other words, that the mitzvahs are given for us to live by them.
Chai boim, yeah.
Right. So a person that's in Hatzalah, I once heard somebody that was kind of a mean Jewish person that wasn't religious, tried to come up with an argument that members of Hatzalah want to break Shabbos, and that's why they're in Hatzalah. So the answer to that is there is no mitzvah of Shabbos. It's doche. In other words, because life is more important than.
Same with Shmira. Shmira also. We carry radio in Grand Heights.
Yeah.
No.
Are you in Hatzalah?
Shmira. Well,
Yeah.
Grand
My son Yudi is in Hatzalah.
Yudi.
Yudi Abraham.
I don't know that sound. I've been in Grand for 5 years. But in Grand Heights.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
Oy
So
v'dam
this
achayo,
one-
or with the blood from the wound of a chayo, which is not subject to the covering of the blood. Roy noisa kilu mayim. We view the blood that does not require cover. We view the blood that does not require covering the blood as if it were water. If there is sufficient blood in the mixture to give that amount of water the appearance of blood, one is obligated to cover it. But if not, one is exempt. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Ein dam mevatel dam." Blood cannot nullify blood. One is therefore obligated to cover the blood of the slaughtered chaya or bird, even if it is not sufficient to give the mixture the appearance of blood. There's not enough that would give it the appearance of blood. It doesn't look like blood anymore, but according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not nullified. Dam anita is regarding the blood that splatters and the blood that is on the knife, a shalasakin, and blood that is left on the knife after the slaughter. Chayav lechaseis, one is obligated to cover it with earth. Omar Rabbi Yehuda emosai. When does this rule apply? Bisman she'ein shom dam elahu. When there is no blood other than this that can be covered. Aval yesh shom dam shelo yehu patum lechaseis. When are you obligated to cover the blood that splatters or the blood that is on the knife? When there is no blood other than this that can be covered. But if there is other blood on the wall, you don't have to cover. Blood that was mixed with water. If it has the appearance of blood, it's kosher. What does it mean? It is valid. It may be still applied to the altar and render the offering valid. You have your shechted an animal as a korban, as an offering, and you're bringing it into the temple on the way. There was a roof leak and water came into the kli, and now there's water and blood in your vessel. Okay? So it says, Imish b'maris dom, if you still have the appearance of blood, it's kosher, you're allowed to offer it. Nisov b'yain, but if somebody spilled wine into that blood, we view the wine as if it were water. If there is sufficient blood in the mixture to give that amount of water the appearance of blood, the blood is not nullified by the wine and it may be applied to the altar. If the sacrificial blood became mixed with the blood of an unconsecrated behema, or with the blood of chaya, which was not used at the temple, we view the unconsecrated blood as if it were water. And if there is sufficient sacrificial blood in the mixture to give that amount of water the appearance of blood, it is not nullified by the non-sacrificial blood and may be applied to the altar. If, however, it would not suffice, then the non-sacrificial blood in the mixture nullifies the sacrificial blood. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Ein dom mevatel dom." Blood cannot nullify blood. The sacrificial blood therefore remains valid no matter what proportion is present. A qualification of this Mishnah, first ruling is cited. We are dealing with a case. Rabbi Chia bar Abba says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, we're dealing with a case where water fell into blood. Where the water fell into the blood. But if the blood fell into the water, rishon batel, each successive drop that falls in is nullified by the water. Even if ultimately enough blood falls in to give the mixture the appearance of blood, it remains unfit for application to the altar. So we have two different scenarios over here. Scenario number one, water fell into blood. Scenario number two is that the blood fell into the water. And he says, if they are dripping, meaning blood is dripping into this cup has water in it, and blood is dripping into this cup. Every drop that falls into the water is being nullified immediately, because there's a lot of water, very little blood. Now, after a while, there's a lot of blood in the cup. It says it was already nullified. Through this whole time, it was already nullified. Each successive drop that falls in is nullified by the water, even if ultimately enough blood falls in to give the mixture the appearance of blood, it remains unfit for application to the altar.
If you have more, I'm sorry.
Because reminding me of like in Israel, the custom is Sephardic as like in general, but because there's a certain amount of Jews, 600,000 or something that was there at one time, that was that. But because every time people go there, Ashkenaz, that in less than that, even though in the end there might be more Ashkenaz Jews than Sephardic living in Israel, because they never came all at once and it was one by one or a few by few, it kept getting nullified to Sephardic custom. But if more than the 600,000, a certain number came at once, more than what was there, then it would change that. And
saying the prevailing custom was the dominating because of the influx of Jews that were coming in, and they were more of a. It says the Sephardic Jews and the Ashkenazic Jews came somewhat earlier than the Sephardic Jews. The Sephardic Jews came in, I think in 1950, 1952, 53, 55. That was like the hundreds of thousands came.
The Alter Rebbe sent shluchim to Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
There was a Yeshua.
The Rabbi Menashe Amitay was sent to Tzfas in 200 and somewhat years ago. But I don't know if it says people need to keep their customs, whatever your parents, your grandparents you came with. People need to keep unless they change. But the Rebbe was not pro people changing. Like if you davened, you went to Cheder and you learned Baruch Atah Hashem. You shouldn't start say Baruch Atah or vice versa. A guy learned. You want to live by Chabad customs, fine, but you don't have to change the way you brought up, the way you daven.
Recently, there was some Satmar Chassidim that came to the Rebbe, and they basically became Lubavitchers because they were learning Tanya, and the Rebbe told them not to cut off their payas,
not to change their garments,
not to change
the way they look. Yeah.
Rabbi, they're saying that the blood is nullified for the water, yeah? But when you have like half water and you drip blood, one tip, it's okay, it's nullified. But when you have like more than you have water, it's not nullified.
No, so he says that since when the blood came in, the drop came in, it became nullified. It's not added to the water, it's like water. So all the drops that came, they're water. They're not anymore blood.
Even if it's 50%?
They're not combining. Yeah, because it's not. it's not being combined, meaning the blood that was already in the cup.
It's not okay.
Okay, if we break it into time, right? So we'll say we have a 1 o'clock, from 1 o'clock to 1:10, okay? 10 minutes. The first minute, we got an ounce of blood. The second minute, we got another ounce. The third, fourth, each minute. Ultimately, we got 10 ounces of blood, right? So the first ounce is nullified to the water. The second ounce is not combined with the first ounce because the first ounce is already water. That's what they're saying.
Okay, thank you.
Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa said, "Uleyan Kisuy Einoi Chein." This is we spoke about regarding the temple, whether you need to apply the blood on the mizbeach or you shouldn't apply the blood on the mizbeach. Amar Rav Papa, "Uleyan Kisuy Einoi Chein." With regard to the mitzvah of covering the blood, this is not so. Even if the blood fell into the water, it must still be covered. And dichu etzel mitzvahs, because there is no permanent rejection in regard to mitzvahs. Litchos, to reject, there's no rejection when it comes to permanent rejection. You can be postponed, but it cannot be completely rejected. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, Kol mara admumis, any shade of red, mechaprin, can affect atonement through application to the altar when it is blood of an offering. So blood of an offering, even if it looks very light, it was mixed with other liquids, affects atonement. So machshirin can render food susceptible to tumah. Now, after applying the blood on the altar, the food is permissible for consumption. If it's edible, then it's susceptible to tumah. So the meaning machshirin v'chayovim v'chisui and is subject to covering. Ma'ika mashmalon. What does he informs us? Mechaprin tonino. The law that it can affect atonement we'll learn it in the Mishnah. Chayovim b'chisui tanina. And the law that it is subject to covering we'll learn it in our Mishnah. Machshirin. What is the question? He says, in each of these cases, the Mishnah teaches that as long as the mixture has the appearance of blood, it is treated as blood. It was necessary for him to inform us that it renders food susceptible to tumah. Machshirin nami, the law that it renders food susceptible to tumah seems superfluous. If the mixture has the status of blood, it renders food susceptible to tumah. And if it has the status of water, it also renders food susceptible to tumah. What is the difference whether it is shaded red or not? We know that water makes food susceptible to tumah. Right? Remember, if somebody we learned the law, if someone put figs on the roof and they became, and the dew caused it to be wet, whether he was happy with it, he wasn't happy with it, it makes it susceptible to tumah. So in our case, blood mixed with water, what difference does it make if it looks like blood or not? Regardless, it makes it susceptible. The Gemara says, a Buddha statement is necessary only regarding a case where one mixed the blood with rainwater. Rainwater does not render food susceptible to tumah unless one previously intended to use it for some purpose. Blood, on the other hand, renders food susceptible to tumah even without such intent. So again, rainwater does not render food susceptible to tumah unless one previously intended to use it for some purpose. Blood, on the other hand, renders food susceptible to tuma, even without such intent. Your intent is not being considered. With water, rainwater, we are considering your intent. Rav Yehuda informs us that when a mixture of blood and rainwater is shaded red, it has the status of blood. You will object, nami, but with respect to rainwater too, since one took it and poured it into the vessel containing the blood, he has shown that he intended the rainwater for use, and the mixture should prepare food for tuma even if it does not have the status of blood. It says in 20, the very fact that the owner poured the rainwater from the vessel in which it was collected into the blood indicates that he wishes to use the rainwater, and this elevates it into the category of a beverage. If you're leaving a container outside, it collects rainwater. Taking that water and you're pouring it into a vessel, it shows that you want to use it.
Can you drink rainwater, Rabbi? Or is it like acidic?
Health-wise, I think maybe need to be boiled. I don't know if it's so simple. The water that we drink, they go through
process.
Yeah. So it might be, usually people use it for farming, they use it for the fields.
Just like milk is pasteurized.
Right. I think the H2O, I think they're adding something to it. It's not just...
But technically, if you drink the water, if you drink the rainwater, you can make it.
No, I don't know. I heard something that there could be lethal, definitely certain water if they're not.
Boros, in other words.
The pits they were
the
used
pits
for
that were
to
filled
contain
with
water.
Were
Yeah.
filled with rainwater.
Yeah.
Was it Mayim Shuvin?
Right.
But maybe in those days the rainwater wasn't contaminated the way it is today because of the atmosphere and all the pollutants and everything. Maybe people could drink.
Global warming. Yeah.
But all the rains came from.
I want to hear the daily rant.
Hmm.
No, not now.
Probably.
We're joking.
All the rains come from Gan Eden. In Tanit. All the rain that comes from Goshen is from Gan Eden.
Yeah, so it's all the chemicals.
No,
But
we're
that
saying
is
that you still have to be able. You need to be able to contain it. The source is very nice. It comes from a higher source. But can I have it? Can I handle it? Diesel, let's say diesel is better than gasoline, let's say. But can you take diesel just because it's better? Doesn't mean you can take it.
When you get to the next part, it mentions plasma. There's a great definition over here about what blood plasma is.
לא הצריכו שנסמדו מאליהן. Says Rabbi Yehuda's statement is necessary only regarding a case where the blood became mixed with rainwater by itself, without human intervention. The rain fell directly into a vessel of blood. In such a case, no intent to use the rainwater has been demonstrated. It didn't show that he wants to use it. And the mixture can render food susceptible to tuma only if it has the status of blood. Meaning that you have enough blood that therefore it remains keeping its status. Rabbi Yehuda informs us that when it is any shade of red, it is considered like blood in regard to this law. The Gemara presents an alternative explanation of Rabbi Yehuda's teaching. Rav Asi of Naharbil says, Bet le loto de dom. Rabbi Yehuda is dealing with blood serum.
It's plasma.
Blood serum is the clear fluid of the blood that separates from the clot of blood when it coagulates.
Can I read what he says here?
The clot takes on a dark red color and the surrounding serum is clear and commonly yellowish. Rabbi Yehuda teaches that if it is any shade of red, it retains the capacity to render food susceptible to tumah. Rabbi Yehuda does not refer to a mixture of blood and water, but to the serum that originates entirely from the blood. That's what Tzelleloto Bitzelleloto the Domo.
Can I read you what he says here?
Go for it.
So he says that it's also called blood plasma. This is mostly a clear liquid with a yellowish color. It constitutes approximately 55% of the body's total blood volume. 90% of this plasma is water, and the rest is made up of various proteins and salts. The red part of the blood is essentially the red blood cells which carry the oxygen to the body. Here's a picture over here of a tube with blood plasma in it. It's all yellow.
Interesting.
Just a second.
Yellowish.
This is blood plasma. It's yellow.
Rabbi Yirmiyah Divti Omar Kores, eating blood serum is punishable by Kores, like eating regular blood. V'udika kazais, but this applies only when there is an olive's volume of pure red blood. V'masnisa tono metam be'oil, blood serum transmit tuma via a roof. The Gemara states a qualification, ve'udika revis, but this applies only when there is a revis of pure red blood. Nan osam kol mashka meisteirin, all liquids that emanates from a corpse are tohor chutz midamoi, with the exception of its blood. V'chomara admumis sheba metam ba'oil, and a corpse's blood serum, that is any shade of red, transmit tuma via a roof like its pure blood. The Gemara wonders, umashka meisteirin, are all liquids besides blood that emanate from a corpse actually tahor, uriminu? But contrast this with the following Mishnah and note the contradiction. Mashket v'ulyoim kemashkin shenegea boin. Liquids that emanate from a tevul yoim, right? Remember, someone went to the mikvah but waiting to the evening to be pure. Liquids that emanate from a tvul yoim are like liquids that he touches, which means, he writes in 28, a person who was tameh but immersed in a mikvah, although the immersion itself provides him a degree of purification, he retains a vestige of his tumah, meaning a small level of tumah until nightfall. He does not contaminate chullin, unconsecrated foods, through contact. He touched food that are chullin, but he renders teruma and kodesh, food of offerings, unfit for consumption. So tevul yom that touches food, regular food, chullin, it's okay, nothing happened. But if tevul yom touched teruma or kodshim, it disqualifies it, unfit for consumption. The Mishnah teaches that liquids that emanate from a tevul yom, such as saliva, urine, teardrops, blood, and in the case of a woman, her milk, are treated like liquids that the tvul yom touches. Mishnah proceeds to explain, this means ve'elu ein metamin, and both these liquids and those liquids do not contaminate foods through contact. Just as liquids in number 1, it says, we'll end off with this, it says just as liquids of chullin that a tvul yom touches are unaffected by the contact and remain completely tahor, so too the tvul yom's bodily secretions are completely tahor. The Torah does not attach any tumah to tvul yom's secretions, nor did the rabbis decree that they be considered tameh. Bruchim to you.